Welcome back to Vancouver Carpenter. So, is this the best drywall sander for the DIY? You know what? I do think that this is actually a really good choice for anybody who just wants to buy one thing and have it be pretty foolproof and be able to get nice corners and nice, large bodies of flat work. So let's take a look at this, and I'm going to give you my opinion on how this stuff works. All right, so first off, we got this thing from Richard. It can attach to any paint pole, which is nice and easy because almost everybody's got a paint pole. And so what it does is these clamp down and these little spikes go through into the sponge. As you can see, the little holes there. So I had something similar that I've been using forever. I use this for all my corners, but it's, it likes to shift around a lot on here. And it's these little corkscrew things that I found, were kind of problematic. It was harder to center the sponge. So even though I've loved this thing, this little contraption was a little bit problematic. So I'm interested to see if this one is more durable and easier to use. I already know it's going to give the same basic results in terms of sanding as the one I have, but I wanted to find one that I could link for you guys so you could find it easily. All right, now let's get on to the big broad surface. So this one, unfortunately, is way too coarse. The one that came in the package, I cannot use this on my finished work, but I have used one of these on my finished work before. So what I would say about using the big sanding sponge on a pole is I don't find it ideal for my first coat. So on my first coat, I like to have a firm sanding pad, so something with just sort of like some thin but firm rubber on the sanding pad, and then just a regular sheet of sandpaper on there. The reason is it's hard and flat, and it really shaves down any inconsistencies and lift-off marks. So it's a very fast, efficient, and leaves a very flat result. I find these tend to go over inconsistencies because they're soft, so they don't flatten out, like lift-offs and all that sort of stuff as well. So I don't use these on my first coat. However, for a final coat, have you ever seen a drywaller going around with a light and a sponge? So there's a reason we go around with a sponge, and that's because, the edges of it are softer, and it does a really good job of sanding something without leaving grooves and ridges and stuff all over the place. So I can say, without a doubt and without even having to use it, that if you get a fine one of these for your finish coat, sanding with a pole sander and this is going to leave a really nice finish coat. Just be careful, as always with a sanding pole, to not go directly back and forth, because the edges, even of a sanding sponge, will leave lines. It'll leave sanding lines, grooves. So when you're sanding, just tilt it even like 5-10 degrees, sand like that. That's going to stop these edges from leaving lines, and I guarantee you this is going to do a really nice result. It's not going to bump in corners as much, so if you accidentally bump the corner when you're sanding, it's not going to leave a big divot or groove. So that's nice, because the regular sanding poles I use, one little tap in the corner and you have a little hole there that needs to be filled all of a sudden. But anyways, yeah, I'm interested to see how this works, so I'm going to sand for a little bit, and when I finish this job, I'll let you guys know how this one did and how the clamps worked, how it all felt. Anyways, let's get to it. Well, you guys, this thing worked really well. As good, if not a little bit better than my other one. It didn't leave any lines in the corner, although I didn't sand too aggressively. Like I wasn't hanging out there sanding over and over and over. Just a few quick passes. The corners worked out really well. All it took, like I said, was just a couple of quick passes with this, a couple of quick passes with the sanding pole, and then those corners were basically perfect everywhere except where a seam intersects, and that's where I have to spend, you know, an extra 5 seconds or so with a sponge sander. And I want to plug this sponge sander real quick. These are the sponges I have been using for the last 10 years. They're just the 3M angled sponges. You guys know I tear the corners off of here. And these are the best sponges. I won't use anything else. I go out of my way to buy them if I have to. I'm gonna put the link down below for you if you're interested. I honestly don't use and won't use anything else if I don't have to. But getting back to this, yeah, this did a really good job. And all right, I don't generally like to brag on this channel, but I gotta say, I think I nailed it on the corners this time. So I'm gonna put a little link to the video of the process I used for these corners. But yeah, this was the easiest sanding. I mean, I pretty much didn't even have to look at them except where they intersect. Like I pretty much didn't even sand them, you know, like I just started shining the light and looking and they were totally good. Nice and full, nice and crisp. If anything, I would have actually wrecked them by sanding them more. So most of them only needed this and a quick push to feather the edge on a pole sander. They were really good. I was very happy with them. Again, if you're interested, check that little link, or it might be the suggested video at the end of this video. So anyways, yeah, this was a good buy. I mean, this tool has cut my time in corners by half or more. So, you know, I used to run around with a light and a sponge sander, getting all the details just right. And, you know, once you have the right combo of tools and you get really used to using them, seriously, you can cut your time down by half or more. Like my taping, you know, taping by hand versus using the tools is like probably 4 times faster than taping by hand. And then now add in this sanding method, like honestly, you're gonna cut your time way down. So highly recommend it. Definitely a good buy if you're interested. I've been talking way too long. I'm done. I finished sanding this job. That was like 3 solid hours of sanding. I'm totally bagged. I can't believe I used to sand for like 8 hours a day on some bigger jobs. If you're still doing that these days, you know what? My heart goes out to you. It's a hard job. And if they wonder why you didn't vacuum when you left, it's because you were done, and I get it. So anyways, thanks for watching Vancouver Carpenter. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video, and till the next one.